you going? Okay. Hey, this is Kayla with Journey Dog Training, and this is Barley. Today we're going to talk a little bit about how to work with your dog when they're pulling and really distracting situations. So this is one of Barley's kind of toughest level scenarios. We're in the woods, there's lots of good smells, there's sticks. Andrew is filming, he really wants to be with Andrew. He's used to being off leash, so this is really, really tough for him. So what I have set up going on here, I have roast beef in my pocket. And I actually have Barley on a waist leash here. I use the waist leash when I'm getting frustrated with loose leash walking in particular, because that helps keep me a little bit more objective with whether or not my dog is pulling. Because sometimes it's a little like, okay, he's pulling if my arm is here, but he's not pulling if he's out here. What's that like? Also, if you're really frustrated with your dog because they're pulling, it can be really tempting to yank on the leash. I like taking the leash out of my own hands for those two reasons. So I've got it here on my my hip belt for my bag, and we're going to demonstrate a little bit of kind of the series of exercises that I'll do to help work on teaching your dog to walk nicely on leash when they're in a really distracting situation. So you're going to see me stopping if Barley pulls, because that teaches him that pulling doesn't get him what he wants. And if he chooses to check in with me or otherwise pay attention to me, I will either drop it, this for him as a reward, or I'll give him some roast beef. For you guys at home, you're probably going to want to stick with the roast beef. If you do have a fetch maniac like Barley here, then you can go ahead and use something like a fetch toy. So here we go. We'll go in motion for a little bit here. Get it. So we're just going to move forward. It's often easier if you move at a slower pace. If you just gradually speed up so that your dog isn't pulling, pretty soon you're going to end up running with your dog. And they might not be pulling, but you're running. So it's often easier to start out slower. Part of the reason that dogs pull so much when we're walking is because it's exciting. So that's all we're doing. We stop, he comes back, good boy, toss it, keep moving. Dogs pull on leash for a lot of reasons. It's really exciting. Life is really exciting, especially when you spend 8 hours a day waiting for mom and dad to come home from work, and another 8 hours a day sleeping, and probably 2 hours a day watching them watch TV. It's really exciting if you're a dog and you get to go out for a walk. So it's really hard. The other thing is dogs just flat out walk faster than people at their kind of average walking pace. So that's something that we're kind of always up against with our wimpy little two legs. Good boy. So this is really pretty much what I would do, is just kind of walking slowly. If he gets out ahead of me and pulls, you just stop moving. And that again is where this waist leash comes in handy, because I'm just gonna stop. There's no gray zone of whether or not he was pulling, and there's also no ability for me to give him a correction when I didn't necessarily mean to. Good boy. And then you reward good choices with either fetch, if that's what your dog is into, or roast beef, if your dog is more of a food sort of guy. So that's kind of a brief tutorial on a little bit of loose leash walking for you guys. All done.
And then Barley and I run away.